Now, live from the 2015 Vancouver International Wine Festival, Anthony Gismondi and Casey Wilson. This is Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on CIL 650.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Welcome back to the Best of Food and Wine. I'm Tony Gismondi.
I'm Casey Wilson.
Pretty excited to have our next two guests with us from the floor of the Wine Festival. Daren Shanahan is a brand manager for CasellaFamilyBrands. Daren, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tony.
And FrankieHarding is a communications manager for the CasellaFamilyBrands. Frankie, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are famous.
She is, and especially with your name. It's great. You probably get paid more because you have a male-sounding name, right?
I do.
Is that a Casey Frankie thing?
Yes, it is.
See,
I know.
I
I've lived with it, and I had a twin sister named Karen, and at the Christmas events, I would always get a truck, and she would always get pearls.
Yeah, they're always surprised to find that I'm actually female.
Yes, there's an advantage to that.
There is.
Love it. Representing CasellaFamilyBrands, maybe a lot of our listeners don't know that name, but they know the name of Yellowtail, which was owned by Casella. So you've been on a big ride at Casella.
We have. So John Casella unfortunately couldn't be here in Canada, but yeah, we're delighted to be here. We're actually here presenting the new premium range of wines from Casella.
Yeah. So it's we're talking about history and revolution and evolution. So the evolution at Casella now. Are these new range of wines, which I totally get because I think you've been buying fruit from almost every spot around Australia. So if anybody knows where the good fruit is, the Casellas know where it is now. That was one of the bonuses, I think, of Yellowtail.
That's right, and John prides himself on his relationship with the growers, and as you said, we work with a number of growers across Australia, and so he had access to this wonderful fruit from 2006 vintage in Rattenbury, and as a result he's produced the 1919 wines, which we're here to present to you tonight.
Great. Okay, so maybe, I don't know, Daren, will you tell us a bit about the 1919, or who's going to...
How many wines are there in the...
There's two wines. There's a Cabernet Sauvignon and a Shiraz.
Okay.
Actually, maybe Frankie could take us through the whole history of 1919.
Yeah.
Where does the Casella family start? And how did we get to this wine called 1919?
Yeah.
It's a great story.
So John created Casella 1919 to pay tribute to his family and the generations of winemaking. It's a significant year for him because it's the year that they purchased, the farm that's now CasellaFamilyBrands was first built, and it's also the year that his grandfather returned from the war. So he wanted to pay tribute to his family and the generations of winemaking with this particular wine. He sourced the fruit in the 2006 vintage, and initially the concept for the wine was to create a wine that people could give as a gift. He wanted to say thank you to the people that had supported him on his big journey over the years. And actually in Australia we released the wine just ahead of the key gifting period. It comes in the lovely presentation box, as you can see.
Yeah, it sure does.
So yeah, we'd love to know what you think of it.
Yeah, so this is a Limestone Coast wine, which is, for our listeners, we would say maybe just slightly north of Coonawarra. Would that be more or less get them in the right area?
So it's predominantly from Rattenbury.
Okay.
Yeah, so which I believe is a World Heritage Geology site.
It is,
so it's a very special place, and it's a region that John is particularly passionate about as well. So hence the release.
And 2006 is widely known as a great vintage as well in Australia.
Exactly.
So
it was a particularly good vintage. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm smelling it. It smells fantastic. None for you, Art. You didn't get any. Your education is slipping a bit.
I gave him a
he's
little
got
class
some.
before.
Okay.
Yeah, I cheated.
Yeah. 100% Cabernet Sauvignon?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's already, I don't know, 9 years old.
9 years old.
Tastes like a baby.
Exactly, and it's definitely still got some age left in it. So we're excited to see where it goes as well.
Well, many years ago I call him Mr. Casella.
Mr. Casella.
He still lived in the little house in Griffiths up they were building tanks around him, but he was a fantastic guy.
Yeah, well, the family home still exists today.
Yeah.
There are a lot of tanks around it, as you say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wonderful to be able to go back there and actually see where it all began, and where the family journey started to where it is today, which is a global success story.
Very rich heritage amongst the family.
Yeah.
So what are the plans for Casella moving forward then? Obviously, you still have the brand of Yellowtail, but you have many other things that you're pushing now, pushing forward.
Exactly. Well, what's really exciting on top of this is we really started to work to develop the Casella name.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Yellowtail, but people don't know who Casella is.
Yeah.
So we've been working on bringing in innovation with more premium wines. And what's exciting, actually, is this is the first international market that we're tasting our wines.
Really?
So we really felt that the Vancouver Wine Fair was the place in North America to be going.
Yeah.
On top of having the full Australian thematic going on.
Yep.
So it's been really exciting, and we've been getting a lot of good feedback from consumers.
Yeah, the reception's been good at the table.
Yeah, it's been excellent. We're really pleased.
So do they connect you to Yellowtail?
In terms of the brands?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they wouldn't at the booth, right? They would just go to Casella.
It's crazy when people walk up to us and they're saying, like, are you guys like new in the market, in the Canadian market?
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what's great about Casella is there's such a great history of winemaking in the family.
Yeah.
But because Yellowtail was so big that people didn't really pick up on the name.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of innovation coming out.
Well, there's a great history in the region, too. I mean, if you look at the people who were in Griffith and all the farmers and the way that things went around, I mean, they played an important role in all of that. But I visited Yellowtail many years ago, and I was just blown away by the amount of fruit from the amount of sources that was coming to that place. And we had these discussions earlier with John saying, wow, look at all this fruit. And he said, yeah, we more or less can pick what we want. And I said, there must be some great batches of fruit in there that you can get your hands on, which obviously has come to fruition.
Yeah, no, it has. I mean, we do have access to some fantastic growers around the country. I think last vintage we crushed over 170,000 tons, which John and I worked out was about 3.5 times the weight of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, just to put it into perspective.
Wow.
So, it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
But these wines are on a much smaller scale, and we haven't created them to try and recreate the success of Yellowtail. It's all about creating a premium portfolio that really appeals to the consumer.
Are they released in Australia as well, or only in the export market?
Yeah, they're in Australia, and then we're looking at releasing them into Asia and the US as well as Canada. So.
And there's a price of $20.
Yeah.
And is that the same in Australia?
Yeah, so Beyond Horizons, which is the entry level to the premium portfolio, is priced at $15.99. And then we have 2 limited release wines, which are region specific, which are $40, and then this one is $100.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tastes like it. And people can taste some of the wines here tonight and tomorrow night at the booth.
Exactly. No, you can taste all of the wines, and we'd love everyone to come and try them and see the credibility that John has in winemaking as well. So
you roll it out here, and then what? You'll go back and strategize, or how? Where will it go from here?
It's been really interesting, actually, to see how the wines have been received. I mean, I think you can always learn from events like this in terms of speaking to the buyers and consumers. And John's always passionate about creating wines that very much have consumer taste profile at the heart of what he does. So we always want to take that feedback on board. But no, we're really excited about moving forward with this portfolio.
Pretty savvy consumers here, I think, that come up to the booth.
Exactly, and I think BC is really the gateway for us to move into Canada. And there's a great history with the Casella wines, Yellowtail in BC.
Yeah.
So this is really our gateway into the rest of Canada.
Yeah, and maybe into the U.S. at some point, or with these wines, or
we would hope so.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people down there.
There are. That's very true.
Yeah.
More than in Australia.
How is what's going on in Australia with young people and wine drinking? What's happening? Is it a good situation? Is it growing, or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're always looking at ways that we can innovate and create new drinking occasions for our consumers and bring new consumers into the category. And I think Yellowtail does a great job there in terms of its style. And we're also finding, I guess, as the global trend, if premiumization is happening, that people are trading up, and that presents an opportunity for us as well with these wines. So,
are we different drinkers than Australians? Do you think, or are markets decidedly different, or just?
I would say
Canadians, Americans, Australians, we all drink wine, but is it different?
I would say it's roughly the same.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest challenge in any industry right now is discovering millennials and understanding what millennials like.
Well, who the hell knows what millennials like?
They don't know. They don't know either.
They
I
don't
think,
know.
Tony. Actually,
They've
but
got
it's
too much choice.
They've got too much choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And are younger people drinking more white wine now or red, or what do you see in the market?
I would say that we've had success with our blends. So with Big Bold Red, we've had some great success here in this market. I think the kind of slightly sweeter profile appeals to them. We also have launched 2 new SKUs of Moscato bubbles,
Yes.
and that's worked really well for us as well. And then we've actually launched Yellowtail with a limited edition label here in Canada, which really appeals to that consumer when they want something different that stands out on shelf.
Was this a deliberate launch of Cabernet Sauvignon, say, versus Shiraz, or there's a matching Shiraz for that, or?
We actually have a 2006 Shiraz as well.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, so we have both.
I was thinking maybe you're making a really bold statement, but so you have
Well,
both.
that wouldn't be unlike John, so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope you're enjoying your stay in Vancouver.
Oh, it's been fantastic.
Yeah?
I've had a
Is it
wonderful
your first time
here.
in the
It's
city?
my first time to Canada.
And you're happy with what you see, maybe?
You know, it's been wonderful. I've had a great time here.
Yeah.
It's a great city.
We love Vancouver. We think the food is so great here, the food and wine. It's a really good. It's a really good scene.
No, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, and
Thank
thanks for
you.
giving us a taste of this amazing Casella 1919 Cabernet Sauvignon 2006 from Limestone Coast that people can enjoy if they drop by the booth.
They certainly can.
They must go by and try it.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much. It was really nice to meet you, Frankie Communications Manager for CasellaBrands, and Daren Shanahan, Brand Manager for CasellaBrands in Canada.
It was nice meeting you, Tony and Casey.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
We will. You're listening to the Best of Food and Wine. We're on Sea Isle. We're coming live tonight from the floor of the Vancouver International Wine Festival. Casey, what year is it? Do you remember?
37,
37 freaking years.
I know.
We're not getting younger.
Tony. We were at the first one
We're just
37
getting
years
better.
ago.
Yeah. We'll take a quick break and come back, and when we do, we're heading actually to the Okanagan Valley.
There's lots more still ahead. Live from the 2015 Vancouver International Wine Festival, this is Tony and Casey's Best of Food and Wine on Sea Isle 650.